Alright guys, so I've had a request on the channel for a deck list on my Ascension Piccolo build. So I guess we can just go right on into it. It's pretty similar. You'd think, like, you know, the Ascension Trunks, that's the most comparable thing I have to it. It's basically anger as fastly as possible and as many combat enders in here as I could fit. You want to get the anger fast and then get the hell out of combat. That's the whole point of this deck. There is a little bit of a potential for a beatdown, but there isn't a whole lot. And I'm not running a triple threat. There are a couple of Dragon Balls in here, but not all 7. So let's go ahead and get right on into it here. First, we've got the Red Ascension Mastery, obviously. I just like the constant anger gain, and especially with, you'll see here, I'm running the Evo Piccolo level 1, so that when I get crits, if I'm on level 1 and I gain the stages, that gives me extra energy, or extra anger, sorry, not energy. Well, I guess it does give me energy too, but anyway, gives me the extra anger, which is the whole point of this deck. And then I'm running Premier level 2 for Piccolo. It's just too damn good to pass up. It's the, you know, discard, the hand filtering a little bit. You get the rejuve, you mill your opponent. Plus you get a crit if you discard a styled, which, you know, you should be pretty much every time. There's no reason not to. But you get the crit for the stages. It's just a good idea all around. And then we were running Evo 3 Piccolo. Physical for 7 stages is pretty damn sizable, especially when his stages, his top bracket, is up in E. So that can really put a damper on things. Plus the hit effect of being able to return a ball to capture a ball. Even if you've only got one ball out and the opponent doesn't have any, you can just keep bouncing that ball back and forth, into your hand and out, into your hand and out. That is too good not to do. And then I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I'm using the Premier level 4 currently. Requires your opponent to deal 7 life cards instead of 5 to activate critical damage. And then it's an energy costing 2 for 7 life. And then on hit you rejuvenate the amount of Dragon Balls in play. I like it just because it's extra damage you're pushing through. It makes it harder for your opponent to crit and lower your anger. The only downside that I've really had with this is the lower stages. But again, it's pretty sizable, and the other one, you don't really get to use the action that much. The other one, the Evo 4, is to search the banish zone for Dragon Ball. I don't know, I don't like it in this deck. I run that for all of my Namekian decks, though. That is way too good not to do. Especially when I'm running all 7 Dragon Balls. That's an obvious call there. Plus you get your endurance and all that. This one's just, I like it better. I just do. So then we'll get right on into the non-styled cards here. And of course, you've got 3 Piccolos weighted clothing. You know, you play it from your hand when entering combat. Opponent skips, well, if you're entering as the defender, opponent skips their first action. And then you can banish it from the discard pile to gain 2 anger. That 2 anger is absolutely critical for this deck. Then we've got 2 blinding energy moves. Like I said, we're getting out of combat as quickly as possible on some occasions. So we've got some stuff in here that's going to skip actions, and you're going to skip, and then you'll play this to end combat, raise your anger 1 with the mastery, and you'll level off of it. It is too good not to use this card. And then we've got 2 Heroic Dashing Punch. 5 stages is fairly sizable. We banish the life card damage. Skips, you raise your anger 1, and then on hit, your opponent can't gain anger. It's too good not to run this card in pretty much anything I could think of that's Ascension Mastery. I mean, if you're playing villains, obviously you can't do it, but anything hero and Ascension Mastery, you want this card in there. And then we're running one sphere. I'm kind of iffy on whether or not I want to take this out. I like keeping it for the unleashed decks just because canceling off even just one of those is insane. It helps a lot because pretty much anytime somebody plays the unleashed, the game's over that turn, usually. So it's worth, to me at least, to have one of them in. And then we've got, of course, one times Warriors tool. Blocks everything. Just no other explanation needed. It's a good card. You need it. Then we are running 3 Dragon Balls here. We'll start off. We've got Earth Ball 7. Again, combat enders. You want them in this deck. There's a reason I'm playing Earth Balls, and this is it. Then we've got Earth Ball 5. You can shuffle ball in, gain 3 stages, banish 3 cards from a discard pile. So really, it gives you it gives you 2 things you really want with this deck. The shuffle the ball in play, you'll see the next ball, there's a reason that I have that in here. And then it's got the discard hate. I mean, you don't have a whole lot of that in this deck, and I wanted it just in case the opponent plays something or has something in discard that I just want to get rid of. So I've got that one in there. And then you'll see here I've got Earth Ball 3. Ball 3, draw the bottom 3, shuffle 2 of from your hand in, raise your anger 1. Again, it's a good card. It's kind of situational whether or not I actually play it or not. But if I do play it, I really like to play it and then at some point or another get ball 5 out to shuffle this back into the deck. That way your opponent can't capture it, and you get the added bonus of, well, maybe I'll draw it later and be able to play it to get 3 more from the bottom. Plus the anger. It's just a good call in my opinion. It can be a little detrimental if your opponent somehow captures it, but again, to me it's worth the risk. And then we'll go into the non-combats here. We've got 3 Red Blaze. The reason that I'm running 3 of these is that on level 1, discard 1 single card will net you 3 anger. That is absolutely insane. Just too damn good. You can block, raise your anger 1, use the mastery, skip their action, play this 1 time, and you're already on level 2. It's just fast, very very fast. I actually took down an Ascension Trunks that was using the anger package on Trunks with a variation of this deck yesterday. So this deck can anger very quickly if it needs to. And then I am running 3 Red Destiny. You know, 2 anger, -2/-2 on your opponent's attacks. There's no reason not to run this. So now we'll get on into the combat cards here. Running 2 Red Driving Knee. The physical, raise your anger 1 on hit, use a critical, and then you get another anger off of it. I think I'm running 3 on Octagon. I've kind of been playing with this build a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what the finished product will be when I'm all done with it. I'm not quite completely pleased with it yet, but again, this is a card that you want in there. And then we've got 2 Red Mule Kick. I've debated on running 3 just because of Unleashed, but I really like this, and it is a 2 of. It's got the 2 endurance. You know, you banish an attached card, and it's physical attack. Raise your anger 1. It's a good card all around. And then we've got 3 Red Blocking Hand. Absolutely the best physical block for this deck. 2 anger, 2 stages. It's just too good. I mean, if you're on level 1, 3 anger, 1 card right there, easy. And then we've got 3 Red Right Cross, 4 stages, raise your anger 2. So I only play this card when I am at the end of combat, or if I am gonna level with this card. It's just, to me, plus 4 stages. So if you level to 3 or something like that, it's good. I mean, there's just no way around it. I've only run into a couple instances where I couldn't pay the 4 stages, but for the most part, I don't really struggle with the cost stage, the cost power on it. So I like that as a 3 of. Then we've got 3 red pound, physical, 8 stages, can't be modified. That is really sizable. Can put some people in some bad positions. And then if you've gained stages, you raise your anger 2 levels. Just a good card. Just I can't tell you how much I love this card. Just it's absolutely fantastic. Then we've got 3 red repel. I've actually gone back and forth on whether I want to run this or red duck. The duck gives endurance, lets you rejuvenate some cards. This one is raise your anger 1 and your opponent's MP loses a stage. So again, it's just been back and forth between those two. Right now I've got it at red repel. So yeah. Then we've got 3 red static shot. Again, play this on level 1. You get yourself 3 anger if this thing hits. That is too good. No reason not to run it. It makes all of your attacks be unendurable. I mean, it's just, you know, if it hits, your opponent's in some trouble. We've got, of course, the 3 red double strike. Again, physical. It doesn't have a modifier on it, so that kind of hurts a little bit. But, you know, you get to play it twice. 2 anger. No reason not to run that at 3 of. We've got 3 red tilt. I really do like this card, but it requires a little bit of planning, and you have to be careful on how you use this. It stops the energy, obviously, and then the next time you banish a card after you play this from your life deck or discard pile, you get to draw a card. So, you know, block with this and then use your mastery, get yourself an extra card. Seems pretty good to me. The only problem that I don't like with it is that it is banish after use, so that kind of sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. Then we've got 3 red sword stab. Raise your anger 1, AT plus 4 stages. The big reason I've got this in here is the 3 endurance. The deck is kind of lacking in endurance a little bit right now, but I do like this card as a 3-of for this. And we've got 3 red furious lunge. We're throwing enough physicals that most of the time this thing should hit. There are occasions that it won't, but again, to me it's worth a 3-of, especially with the 2 endurance on there. Just a good idea. Gets around things like personalities. So yeah. And we've got everybody's favorite red card. We've got red shoulder grab. Raise your anger 1, AT plus 3 stages. All the rest of your attacks considered to deal critical damage. This can put allied decks in tough positions. It can put Dragon Ball decks in a tough spot, or even anger decks in a tough spot. There's no reason not to run this card pretty much in any red deck at all. There's no reason not to run this. Then we've got 3 red left bolt. 3 stages for 5 life cards. All the damage is banished. If you combo this with the static shot, that really hurts your opponent. And then of course you get to draw the bottom card of your life deck. Before I was running this, I was using red relaxation, but I didn't like the amount of non-combats and the setup that I had to use in the deck. So I replaced this to get the extra draw, and it pushes a little bit more damage. I'm not too sure what else I would replace it with, but again, it's decent in my opinion. Then we've got 3 red energy defensive stance, 2 endurance, stops the energy, raise your anger 1. Good idea to have this in there. And then the last thing we've got is 2 red hurls. Energy costs 1 stage for 4 life. Raise your anger 1 and then hit, you get to rejuvenate 2. You'll notice that I do have some of the rejuvenation for red in here. I mean, I like the deck recursion, especially with Piccolo. And red doesn't have a whole lot of it, so I was hoping that comboed with Piccolo's level 2 and you know, the Blaze and Hurl, that there would be enough recursion that I wouldn't need a Visiting the Past combo in there. So anyway, that's my deck list for the Ascension Piccolo currently. I am looking to improve on it, and I have been just tinkering around with it here and there where I can. Thanks for watching. This is zwarriorscentral. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks guys. See you next time.